I finally found the CDs and I'm back to listening to music again. Hello, everyone. My name is Ryan Cam, here with Nick and Scott. We're back to talking about Pink Floyd. This is Wish You Were Here, a Pink Floyd retrospective. Nick, Scott, how you guys doing?
Doing good. Doing
Good.
Yeah, and tonight we're going to be covering Ummagumma, which is their third album overall. This is a weird one, and it's a weird structure, weird content, and we'll certainly get to all of that. Just a little bit of background information. This album is a double album, number one, so we'll get into the structure of it, like briefly. But basically, this was split into two. This was a live album, and then this was also a studio album. The live album was more of for the fans kind of thing because it's four live songs, but they're all from albums that have been released, like Saucer Full of Secrets and Piper at the Gates of Dawn. And then the studio album portion was all done basically. It was basically all the band members contributing songs or a song, and that was what made up of the studio portion of it all. And yeah, you'll definitely tell the ones that we like and ones that we don't like when we'll get to them. But getting into some overall thoughts, or getting into some overall thoughts, Nick, what is your overall thoughts?
okay. I'm gonna do my overall thoughts on the live stuff and the studio stuff briefly. Live stuff, all great. Studio stuff, the highs, in my opinion, because I've said this many times. I am a early Floyd defender. However, I have been insanely getting into the Wall. Wall might be a top three Pink Floyd album. Might not be three, might not be two. It might be my new favorite Pink Floyd album. But anyways, scratch all that. Let's not go into a tangent about how great that album is. As someone who's big into early stuff, this is the weakest of the first four of the early stuff. I'd say there's early stuff, then there's transitional stuff like metal, um, Adam Art Mother, and that one album that I always forget about, Script Clouds. That's the transitional album, and then there's the peak stuff. But yeah, of the early stuff, studio stuff, my least favorite because there's some really weird stuff. Like I like weird, but this takes weird to a whole new level. This is the Freddie Got Fingered of Pink Floyd albums. Like this, like once you hear it, you can't unhear it. Like you're gonna wish you've never heard it. Some of the stuff on this album, it's truly bizarre.
Yeah, it's Nick was on that stream, and he has never forgiven me since. I
I'll never let you live that down.
no.
Uh,
Scott, what's your overall thoughts?
Well, we're gonna have a tale of two halves: the live disc and the studio, or the live disc and studio disc. And we'll see which is which, but we'll just leave it at a direct quote from the band that all the band members said that this album was their creative low point. After the death of Sid Barrett, they had no idea where they wanted to go, and in their words, they just threw something together to get the record out. So I kind of agree with them. A lot of this is them putting something out just for the sake of putting it out, and they definitely get better. They find their sound after this, but um, this album and really the last album too were both kind of, Piper at the Gates of Dawn is over. Where are we going to go from here now that we've lost our lead singer and guitar player? And
Yeah,
so, yeah, that's kind of what I feel about this. At least we'll say the studio part. The live albums is a completely different animal. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
as for my thoughts, I loved the live stuff. I thought the live stuff, there was only four live songs, and we'll get to those, but I thought they were all just great stuff. Phenomenal stuff. The studio stuff was like some good stuff, some really not so good stuff. What I will say about this album is that it's never boring. And I think that's I think that's I feel like I'm damning it with faint praise, but it's like it's my honest thoughts, and that like there's not like a thing where it's like, well, I can skip that. Like it's either really good or like really bad, and then there's like that weird middle ground of they said yes to this. Like the studio, unironically, said yes to this. Like they listened to it and was like, let's do another run. Nope, let's keep it as is. Let's just keep it as is. Well, let's just get straight into it. Track number one, and this is the live portion. There's only 4 live songs, so we'll start with the live stuff, starting with the live track of Astronomy Domine. Nick?
Okay, I've hinted at this on our very first review because I did mention that there is a live version we'll be going over, and I I love this version of Astronomy Domine. Like I've heard, and take this with a grain of salt. I've heard that Sid Barrett has heard this version and was very happy about it. Like he approved this version of the song. So it's good when Sid, even the guy who wrote the song and recorded it, was like, yeah, this is really good. I said this in the review. I love the studio version of it, but this version takes an already cool, spacious song and takes it to a whole new level. And here's the reason why. Pink Floyd, especially their early days, they were a very live oriented band. It's not until Dark Side, Wish You Were Here, The Wall, where they start going more on the studio stuff, where they pay more attention to the studio stuff than the live. I mean, they were still very heavily on live stuff, but not as much as they were in their early days. Like the lives, like usually when you go to a Pink Floyd concert at the time, that's like the definitive version of the song 9 times out of 10. This version, to me, this is like if you're gonna listen to Astronomy Domine, listen to the Ummagumma version. I know it sounds crazy, but I've heard the one on the debut. That's not a bad version. That's a great song, but listen to this version. This in my opinion, this is the definitive version of Astronomy Domine. There's 2 other songs on this album that I say actually all 4 of these songs, and I'm going to say it over and over, are in my opinion, the definitive version of the song. There might be one. There's another one. There might be an exception, but check out this version, please. It's really good.
Yes. Scott, go ahead.
Yeah, just kind of going off what Nick said there. I'm kind of jealous of people who have. There's a compilation in the U.S. at least that's the first 2 U.K. albums, and the version of Piper of the Gates of Dawn, only if you get the first pressing, is basically the Piper of the Gates of Dawn UK version, but Astronomy Domine is the live version from Ummagumma. And I'm kind of jealous if you have that pressing of it, because this is the best, and I think the definitive version of this song, if you ask me. And I like, don't get me wrong, whenever we did Piper at the Gates of Dawn, this was my favorite song on that album. It's even better here. I don't know what it is. Like the organ at the beginning, that's not on the studio version. I mean, granted, the studio version has the astronaut sounds, and those are missing here. But I think that organ intro makes up for it. And the other thing is the backing vocals. I don't know if it's David Gilmour doing them or not here, but the backing vocals are so much better on this recording. The ones that go, woo, they're like more up front, more ethereal. Also, not to mention David Gilmour on guitar. I feel like his guitar style fits the song very well. Like Sid's guitar style and David Gilmour's guitar style are very different. And even though Sid Barrett wrote this song, I feel like David Gilmour's guitar parts kind of fit it better. And here's a rule of thumb for this whole live disc. If there was a song that was on an album before this, but it's on this live disc, it's better than the studio version. That might be a bold claim, but that's what I'm going to say about all of the songs listed on this live disc. Like Nick said, Pink Floyd was a live act at this time, and I feel like listening to this live disc made me realize Pink Floyd at this time was very experimental, and I kind of liken the performances on this live disc to jazz in the fact that no two performances of the song were ever the same. They would always switch it up and extend the jam sessions. And I like what they do with the jam sessions better live than in the studio. Live, like it's actual jamming. The studio sometimes it's just noise, and I'm like, are they really just going to make noise for 15 minutes? Live, like there's actual guitar solos from David Gilmour, and Nick Mason gets some good drumming, and Richard Wright's keyboard sound live is really cool. Also, can we talk about how well engineered this album is, the live disc is for 1969? If you listen to like contemporary live albums like Live at Leeds that came out after this, they don't sound as clean as this. I don't know how Pink Floyd got such a. I mean, there was an old trick that they did back in the 60s and 70s that sometimes live albums they would do studio overdubs. I don't know if that's the case here, but I feel like the live sound is very crisp. It almost sounds like it was recorded in the studio, especially Nick Mason's drum sounds. Like the snare especially just like pops out every time he hits it. Very well recorded for 1969 live. But yeah, this is a really, really cool song, and it's a really good way to open up the live disc. It's the definitive version of this song, like Nick was saying.
Yeah, this might be, and I'm between two, this one and another one, but this one might be my favorite on the live side because I love the studio version, but Nick was right. Like, Nick told me in private that the live version of this is way better, and he was absolutely spot on. Like, there was just so much to love here, and I told Nick this off air, and I'll pitch it to you, Scott. It kind of reminded me a little bit of The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway. Like, am I nuts, or do you think that's agreeable?
Like the song "The Lamb Lies Down" on Broadway, or something that would have came off that album.
Kind of the style.
It kind of does. It does have kind of like an early Genesis feel, but it's more. It's like if Genesis went spacey instead of nursery rhyming, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
If they were more science fiction rather than just regular fiction, like nursery rhymes and fairy tales, if they were more space.
Well, next up, Eugene has an axe, and he needs to be careful with it. Nick?
Okay, this is like so. I forgot. Did we ever cover the studio version of the song?
No, I think it was a B side.
This was a B side too.
Was it the B side to See Emily Play, or?
I think it was either See Emily Play or a different song. I'm gonna do a little bit of a fact check. I should have done that before the review, but
Nick, you want me to come back to you, or
point me at the sky? Point me at the sky. That's what's the B side of. And careful. Okay, so first off, the studio version, it's very mellow. It's somewhat of a mellow track. Even like there's this. Okay, first off, there's this part of the song, and I remember when I first heard it, I had this volume at its highest because it was very low at the beginning, and all I hear is "Careful with that, Eugene," and then he just screams out of nowhere. I'm like, I remember I was on the bus on my way to Votech. I'm like, whoa! The studio version, it's not like that at all. It's just kind of like like the live version, like it's just, oh my god! And
it's the same scream I think he does right before Another Brick in the Wall.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so like loud, and it gets my attention, and that part of the song is definitely the most memorable off this version. And again, this is definitely the definitive version of the song. It's not even a song. The only lines you get on the track is "Careful with that axe, Eugene." That's it. That's all the words. It's an instrumental, and Nick Wright is such an underrated drummer. You're gonna hear me say that a lot throughout early Pink Floyd, especially this. He goes nuts on the drums. Just, I love this instrumental. I don't know how you're gonna feel about it, but I besides the screaming towards the beginning of this track, I think this is a really like cool like jamming instrumental.
Yeah, it's not the first nor the last time this album will play with trying to hurt your ears.
Mm.
Scott, what about you?
Sorry. This is a pretty morbid song for only having 5 words in it. Like it starts out very calm and just like the drums creep in and the bass and they jam for a while and then you just hear, "Careful with that axe, Eugene." And then he just screams bloody murder. It's like, did Eugene hurt himself with the axe, or even worse, did Eugene hurt somebody else with the axe? Like we don't know, but we know that somebody got hurt. I guess this is a good song to put on your Halloween playlist. But that scream he does is just so unsettling, but like in the best way possible. This was a staple of their live shows early on. They would play this a lot, and I've never heard the studio version, but from what it sounds completely different than this. This is what I know this song as, just because it's so creepy sounding. Like it sounds just unsettling, and I think that's what makes it really cool is the fact that you're just on edge the whole time. Like, what is going on with this song? And then they just kind of rock out in the second half after the whole screaming part. But
Yeah, this one was the weakest of the live stuff for me, but I still really liked it. I think I liked the content. I liked what they were trying to accomplish with this, and you definitely, like to Scott's point near the end, it just basically boils down to them just jamming at the end. So you got to keep that in mind. But it's like the next two just kind of, in my opinion, just kind of dwarf this one. Which, getting to that, we'll now go to set the controls for the Heart of the Sun. Nick.
I love this version of the song. Again, I said this on our Saucer Full of Secrets review. I like the studio version, and I like the fact that it's the only. I like that it's one. It's like we get to hear all 5 Pink Floyd members be on this song because that's the only Pink. I'm sure we said it already, but that's the only Pink Floyd song with Sid Barrett and uh, I think of
David
his name
Gilmour.
now, David Gilmour on it at the same time. But this version, in my opinion, it just takes it to a whole new level. It's longer, but it feels more spacious. Like the one on the saucer, it feels like it's limiting itself. Like it doesn't have that same spacious, cool feel that the live version have in my opinion. Like I like that version, but I really, really love this version. And I like how at the beginning you get a little bit of like a drum intro. Like you don't get that on the studio version. You just get right into it. This is like they're building it up to you. And to me, which by the way, this is the opening to side 2, by the way. Side 1 was 2 tracks, side one is 2 tracks, side 2 is 2 tracks as well. So again, you only get 4, but I'm a big fan of this.
Yeah. Before I get to you, Scott, I wanted to point out Nick, your kayfabe brother is in the chat.
Oh, Jake, my brother from another mother, what is up?
Yeah, we're doing good. Scott, what about you?
yeah, I really liked this. I liked this song on Saucer Full of Secrets, but again, it's even better here. Like the just spaciness of it gets amped up here, like Nick was saying, and the drums are even better on this version. It just seems like it's even more. What's a good way of describing it? Even more mystical. Is that a good way of putting it? There's a very mystical sound to it, especially with Richard Wright's keyboard solo that he does. He does a very, I want to say, like Egyptian sounding scale that he plays on there, and just the whole sound of this song is just amplified by 10 whenever they do it live.
Yeah, this is my favorite of the live section. I could have sworn I could be doing the Mandela effect on myself, but I could have sworn I thought I had heard this live version before somewhere. I can't for the life of me put my finger on why or where, but I just remember in like the back end of my head, just like saying, I remember this from somewhere. But nevertheless, listening to it again was just a joy. Like I loved it on Saucerful, and here it's just fantastic. Like of their early output, like pre Dark Side of the Moon, this is one of their better songs. I don't know how bold of a claim that is, but here that goes. But to round off the live portion, we now go to, speaking of A Saucer Full of Secrets, A Saucer Full of Secrets. Nick?
I again, you're gonna me again. I said I was gonna say this a lot. I'm gonna say it again. This is the definitive version of Saucer Full of Secrets. The studio version, I feel like that version's a little boring. That I mean, you might be thinking, how is that one more boring than this one? Isn't it the same song? Well, it's not really a song. It's an instrumental again. No, this version's more exciting. Uh, you get David Gilmour having like his most angelic ah, like in the studio version, it just sounds like a male choir going oh like sounds like I'm going to a funeral. This sounds like I'm ready to go like fight a dragon. Like this like David Gilmour's like I don't know. It's hard to describe, but I love this version. You want another great version of this track? If you guys like this version, check out the one that they do in Pompeii, and
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
hopefully you can find a version where they actually recorded because that version I think that might be even better than this version. So it feels like every time they do this track, they get better at doing it. Like the studio version, okay. This version really good, and then the Pompeii version is just perfect. It's just the perfect version.
I had a chance to see Pink Floyd live in Pompeii, the movie, in a movie theater, and I didn't. I wish I went
Uh,
because they do echoes, and that would have been something to see in the theater.
that's yeah. They do echoes. They do this. It's great. And in my opinion, this is my favorite track on this one and Astronomy Dominating have always been my two favorite off the live disc. And not to discredit your favorite, Ryan, that's also great. I love the version of Set Picture Heart to the Sun. Honestly, three out of the four of these are just all three of them could be my favorite. I really love this live disc, and yeah, I freaking love this version.
Yeah. Like I said, it was between this one and astronomy for like the one like is it this one, this one, this one, this one. I was between the two. Scott, what about you?
If you remember our Saucer Full of Secrets review, do you remember I notoriously hated this song,
Yeah.
the studio version? This is completely different. They actually managed to salvage this song live. I hated the studio version because it just sounded like noise, and it was like 12 minutes of just noise. They actually like change it up here and do like actual playing, which I think is really good. This is not one of my favorites on the live disc. I prefer some of the other stuff, but this is like a million times better than the studio version.
Yeah. I'm gonna agree with Scott. Like I really like this version. Like I like the studio version of Saucerful of Secrets. I did, but I feel like with this one, I don't know, just the atmosphere of it. I liked it more. It's one of those things where it's just a more of a personal preference more than anything, I guess. But that ends the live version, and then now we're getting into the studio stuff. And so for this next one, I'm sort of combining tracks because it's literally. Well, let me just put up the banner here. So tracks 5 through 8 are called Sisyphus, but they're broken up into 4 parts, and we agreed off air to cover these into 4 sections because this is the contribution where every member wrote a song or songs and put them together. So this is that. So that's the structure we're going to be going with, and discussing Sisyphus. We're going to be talking about Sisyphus parts 1 through 4, which is tracks 5 through 8. So Nick.
written by Richard Wright, the keyboard player.
Yeah, so
Thank you.
best way to put it is these are all live tracks. I mean, these are all solo tracks. You have so basically this is like the unofficial debut album, mini album of Richard Wright, and then you have the unofficial debut mini album of Roger Waters.
It's like when Kiss released four solo albums all at the same time, except they're on the same album and it's called Pink Floyd.
Basically. So
Wait,
yeah,
what,
you have
what was it called again?
Yeah.
The Kiss album. What was it called again?
Oh, no, there was four. They were called Gene Simmons, Ace Frehley, Peter Criss, and the other guy.
It's all their names basically.
It's all their names, but like
I'm a
they
big
were all
fan.
released on the same day.
I'm actually a big fan of the Ace Frehley album, but yeah, you have the first one, which we're going to cover, which is Richard Wright. Then you have the Roger Waters stuff, and then the David Gilmour, and then you close it out with the Nick. Did I say Nick Wright? Nick Mason. That's what I was thinking. Anyways, my thoughts on Sisyphus. I'm going to go through each part. Part one, really cool, ancient Egypt sounding like it's like a cool, like daunting, like dun dun dun. Bum, 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 bum. I actually really like that. I wish this was longer compared to a couple of them that shouldn't have been as long. It sounds again. It's like imagine like you're in like a pyramid, and you're looking for like treasure. That's what I'm thinking of when I think of this track. Like looking for treasure. Dangers approaching. That's what I'm thinking. Part two, free-form jazz and piano. That's really what it is. It just Richard Wright just banging on the piano for like a couple of minutes, or however long he does it. I don't know. He does it for a while. Part three, what the hell? That's all I gotta say. It's literally like a mini version of what we're gonna be getting on the Roger Waters stuff. Like there's like this weird animal sounds. I'm like, what? I'm a huge fan of Richard Wright. I've said it many a time. I love Remember a Day. There was a lot of stuff I really liked, but this is just noise. That's all it is. It's just noise. Part four isn't much better. It's like really quiet at first, and it gets really loud all of a sudden. And then they do the reprise of part one. It's noise. Parts. Here's the thing. Parts 2 through 4, it's noise. That's all it is. It's noise. It's noise on an album. Part 1, I think it's cool. Then part 2, it gets me excited. I'm like, Richard Wright, my favorite player in the band. I'm excited to hear his solo stuff, and then it's just noise. Just noise. I don't know. I don't care for parts 2 and 4, but part 1 I do really like.
Well, if you want to talk about noise, let's just wait till we get to several species.
I'm not looking forward to talking about that.
Scott, what about you?
So I think Richard Wright has practically disowned this piece, and I can see why. He claims that when he was writing this, A, they had to put something on the album, but B, because of when it was released in the late 60s, that's when all the artists were into the avant-garde, atonal stuff. People were playing around with that a lot at the time, and so he was kind of trying to jump on that train, music concrete or whatever they call that. He does not do that well. He is an incredible piano player, and I cannot imagine that this was written by the same guy who gave us that beautiful mini Moog solo at the beginning of Shine On You Crazy Diamond, or that cool swirling electric piano sound on Echoes. Like, those are some of the greatest keyboard sounds ever put to tape. This sounds like a cat ran over your piano keyboard. And I'm with Nick. I like part 1. If they would have done a little bit more with part 1, and it developed that into an instrumental song. Yeah, they could have even done some of the stuff at the end, like what they did at the end of part four, where they had the mellotron in and like more instrumentation. That would have been really cool. Maybe even do some stuff with the Hammond organ because I heard him use the Hammond organ a little bit as well. Do some more with that. Like that would have been really cool. I can imagine Richard Wright making a really cool, like just like ambient piece out of this. But no, we had to get avant-garde atonal jazz that sounds like a cat ran over your keyboard or like somebody sat on a piano. That's what this sounds like. And some of it's like 8 minute. I think one part is 8 minutes long. One part is like 10 minutes long. I'm like, or I don't know how long it seemed. It probably seemed longer than it actually was, but it took forever to get through. I'm not gonna lie, I skipped through most of this. I heard it once along or about a year ago, and I remember it enough from then, so I skipped through a lot of it because I didn't want to, especially part two. Like I tried to sit through part two, and when I got to where it sounded like someone was sitting on the piano, I was like, no.
So just for context, Sisyphus Part 1 is 1 minute and 8 seconds. Part 2 is 3 minutes 31. Sisyphus Part 3 is 1 minute 50, and Sisyphus Part 4 is 7 minutes.
The longest 1 minute 50 of my life, by the way, on part three.
It's only 1 minute and 50 seconds.
Yeah.
It feels way longer. It feels way longer.
Yeah,
I felt like I could have got through Hey Jude after listening to that.
I feel like I could have gone through 2112 and feel like that felt short.
Yeah.
Well, for my part in it, Sisyphus is a bit of a mixed bag because part 1 is gorgeous. Like I'm a sucker for the piano, like especially in rock and roll. Like use the piano right, like in like say My Stars, the Alice Cooper song, or like Jessica, the Allman Brothers song, or like the piano in rock.
Outro of Layla.
There you go. Like that can just be fantastic. Part 2, like, I mean, cats are actually good piano players. I've seen enough Tom and Jerry to know that for certain. But this one just, I don't know. This one just felt like it felt out of place. And then you just got 3 and 4, and it's like it's fine. It is like if you kept it just at part 1, you're like okay, that's good. Or maybe you take like 1 and 3 and mash them together. Like that could have been just one complete song. Be like, that's good, Mr. Wright. We appreciate it. But no, it gets split up unnecessarily. So Sisyphus to me is a bit of a mixed bag. But now we get into the water section of the album. Let's get into talking about Grantchester Meadows. Nick?
Okay, you want us to do both Waters tracks or just one at a time?
I was going to do one at a time.
Yeah.
I have a feeling
One of these needs its own dedicated review.
Yeah, you're right. I just thought of something, Scott. You know how like on Chicago's album they have a track called Freeform Guitar? Part 2 of Sisyphus could have been named Freeform Piano.
Yeah. At least Terry Kath on Freeform Guitar didn't know he was being recorded. Like, that's an excuse. He was just making funny sounds on his guitar, and they ended up recording it and putting it on the record. Richard Wright very much knew he was being recorded there.
Or if you're high as balls as Black Sabbath, then you're just tossing the guitar and making sound effects. You could release it as FX.
I mean, Tony Iommi high is better than some guitar players sober. So let's keep that in mind.
I'll tell you this: FX is better than a lot of the bad stuff on this album, and that says a lot because I really do not like FX. Anyways, though, Grantchester Meadows. I love Grantchester Meadows. I'm sure I'm gonna be the odd man out. First off, I already know a complaint one of you guys is at least gonna have, that bird chirping. That's on repeat. I know one of you guys is gonna complain about it, and I totally understand. I have to just learn to block it out. If you block the bird chirping out, this is a beautiful song. Very, very beautiful. I love this track. And it's even better if you look up live versions. where Waters does the verses and David Gilmour does the chorus. That's even better. You can definitely hear it. Could have been done here, but no, they have to go solo for some weird reason. And you could kind of hear Roger Waters' growth as a songwriter in this song. It's very, very beautiful. I love the chorus. I'm going to look up the lyrics right now so I could be more specific. Laughing, see the splashing of the kingfisher flashing to the water. It's just a beautiful song. It's very pretty sounding. Again, I already know one of you guys would be like, that bird chirping that gets annoying. It does get a little annoying, but again, if you block that out and you focus on literally everything else, the great acoustic guitar playing, which, by the way, Waters is underrated at that. Again, this is all Waters. This is all Waters' work here. I think this is a really underrated track on an otherwise crappy studio album.
All right, Scott, what about you?
This is okay. I like the guitar playing, and that's nice. It kind of reminds me of like some of the stuff that they did on the first album, like the more mellow, whimsical songs, like Scarecrow and the Gnome. I actually don't mind the bird. What I do mind is the stupid fly buzzing at the end. I hate bugs, and so every time I hear that, it like triggers my response. Like, oh my gosh, there's a bug. Oh no, it's just the song. Why did Roger Waters put a sound of buzzing fly in this song? It's so annoying. But the song itself is pretty good. I should probably check out the live version that Nick was talking about, because that sounds interesting, having like David Gilmour sing on it as well. But it's I'll say this: it's a lot more listenable than what comes after it, but it's not one of my favorites.
Yeah. I didn't love this track, but I did like it. The bird, it was noticeable. The thing with sounds like that is that if they have like a purpose, then I'm willing to meet you halfway and being like, okay, let's see where you're going with this. And so in that regard, I feel like at a certain point I was like, okay, like quit it with the bird now, please. Like at first I'm like, okay, this is setting ambiance, and then after like a minute of this, I'm like, okay, can the bird fly away now, please? So
Take these broken wings and learn to fly.
That's even better.
all your life, you've been waiting for this moment to arise. But
The bird sounds work well on that song, but not on this one.
yeah, because that has a point to it, and this one is just like, all right, oh, there's a little bird. Like, get this microphone. Like, go on, chirp for me. Come on. But now, Nick, I'm gonna need you to grab something from me because we have to get to, and I'm not writing out this full title in the banner, so here's several species, but I will just read it just for the sake of me doing and being a completionist. Several species of small furry animals gathered together in a cave and grooving with a pict.
Oh, this was so bad we had to bring out the big trash can for it.
The big one too.
This-
Not even the Rangers one.
That track doesn't even deserve my Rangers trash can.
That's the big trash can.
This track is so bad. What were y'all ever watch the Angry Video Game Nerd?
What were they?
What were they thinking? And I can't even say like they. This is Waters, the same guy who brought you The Wall, Dark Side of the Moon, Animals, Wish You Were Here. No. Oh, this is so bad. I remember I was listening to this album for the very first time, and all I heard is animal sounds. I'm like, what am I listening to? What is this? What am I listening to?
And then at the end, you got some John Cleese sounding guy going.
You have this guy who has like You know how like at the very end of Another Brick in the Wall, and you have the Scottish sounding teacher.
Yeah.
If you don't eat the meat, you can't have any pudding.
The pudding!
That was funny. That was great. This is just and then just like a roaring cream. I'm like, what? And then at the very end, just to give me the middle finger, he references "The Wind Cries Mary" by Jimi Hendrix. No, don't you
Don't touch
dare!
that masterpiece.
Don't you dare put that song in this freaking song. That song is, this is so bad. And again, this is the same guy who wrote Comfortably Numb. Hey, you! Brain damage! You know?
Clearly, Mr. Waters had some brain damage when he was creating this.
This is just Shine On You Crazy Diamond. Just, what were you thinking? That's all I gotta say. What were you thinking?
Scott,
Grant
anything
Joker.
to add?
Yep, some artists have a bit of a slower start, and I think that we had to have a few albums under their belt before we get the masterpieces. You have to get through several species of small furry animals before we can make Dark Side of the Moon. And yeah, this is a track. I'm not even going to say a song on an album. I'd say there's notes, but there's not. It's just rhythm. It's all Roger Waters, and he's pitching his voice up to sound like a bunch of animals. And it just sounds like... And then at the very end, you get... Woohoo! Hey, that works if you're a Scottish teacher telling your pupils that they need to eat their meat to get their pudding. That does not work when you're making animal noises. I wonder if he did that voice. David Gilmour was like, please don't do that again. But you can save that for if there's a special occasion. And there probably will be in the future where you can use that voice. But until that day comes, never do that voice again. And they got to the wall, and they're like, we need a voice for the teacher. And Roger Waters went, I have an idea. But yeah, this I don't even have any more words for this. It's something you have to listen to for yourself just to get how utterly ridiculous and pointless it is.
Yeah, my thoughts on it, to quote Gene Siskel, it's bad. It's bad. Just, like, I thought this was a joke. Like, when I was listening to it, I'm like, this has got to be a practical joke. Like, no. Like, this was actually released. Like, you are free to listen to this. Like, on a band that had some forms of popularity by this point. Just, wow. I don't think I can add anything further. It's just awful. Like I don't know what to. I don't really know what to say other than just, you know what? I'm just
I would rather listen to Wild Honey Pie than this.
I'm just happy.
If I'm listening to Wild Honey Pie, that means that I'm listening to the White Album, and I'm going to hear Bungalow Bill in just a minute, and I guess I get through it. I have to go with, if I'm listening to this stupid thing, that I have to listen to whatever racket David Gilmour and Nick Mason are going to make after this song.
Well, to see us off, I will play this clip from Bill Maher.
I have a few questions, starting with what the fuck?
All I gotta say is, yeah, never mind. I thought I had something.
Well, let's move on now. And this is another kind of multi-parted song. This is the Gilmour portion of the album, tracks 11 through 13, called The Narrow Way. Nick?
I just thought of it again. At least I didn't hear it at a Jersey Mike's.
If you heard that at a Jersey Mike's, whoever is making the playlist there is wild. You
Too
come
much time
in,
on their hands.
he's like, "Can I get a number 13 Mike's way?" And you're, "Woo, hey, laddie." You're like, "What is that?" Like, it's
Is-
Pink Floyd, don't you know? You're like, "I remember that Pink
there a
Floyd song." Like, this
burn?
is for the real fans. You got to be a real Pink Floyd fan to be able to listen to this song.
It's like if you're a real Alice Cooper fan, like your most favorite album of his is Zipper Catches Skin or something.
or the first album.
Well, the first
Praise
album was
for
one of the
You.
worst albums I've ever heard.
Oh, praise
Yeah,
for
And that's
You
the only
is
album by him I've ever heard because of that.
Oh wow!
Turn me away from
When-
listening to anything else by him.
Check out
whenever we-
Schools Out.
Whenever we do the Cooper project, those early albums are rough. But
Mhm.
that's-
I heard the first two albums and I agree. But anyways,
that's another time. But
yeah, it is
Narrow
another
Way.
time. Back to this album. The Narrow Way. So, unlike Sisyphus, where the parts got worse and worse, the parts got better and better. Narrow Way Part 1. I will say this. David Gilmour's project is the best project. Having that said, it's not really saying much because it's not all that great. There's parts that I like, but it's not like something that I'm like top 10 Pink Floyd songs, number 10 Comfortably Numb, number 9 Brain Damage, number 8 The Narrow Way. You'll never catch this anywhere near my top 10. Anyway, the part 1, it's noise. That's all I gotta say. It's noise. Part 2, you get this really cool like guitar riff, and it kind of goes on over and over, but it's so like what's it called? It's like repetitive to the point where I like it in a way. It's like dun, 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 dun. It sounds like something you would hear. I'm probably the only one who's played Metroid. It sounds like something you would hear on a Metroid game, but in a good way though. It's
I
like
like
it's
the first one for the Nintendo, like the one in the 80s.
I get it sounds like something like you hear when you're like fighting off aliens. I have a weird imagination, by the way, but I actually it's pretty good. Part 2, part 3 might be. I said I really like Grantchester Meadows, but part 3, the best track on the album, bar none. This track is awesome. Again, you wouldn't catch it anywhere near my favorite Pink Floyd songs, but for this album, it's really good. David Gilmour's voice is awesome here. It's experimental, but it reminds me of Saucerful and Piper of the Gates of Dawn, like the good stuff. And this has always been my favorite track on the album, and it will probably always be my favorite track on the album, part 3. And again, unlike Sisyphus, where it gets my hopes up high and then it takes a huge nosedive, it starts off crappy and it gets a lot better. So good, I guess. I guess it's better to start bad than end on a strong note. I don't know. I actually really enjoyed this.
Yeah, Scott, what about you?
It has moments. So, like, some of the guitar playing is good in the instrumental sections, parts 1 and 2. Like, I like that riff in part 2. Some of the guitar strumming in part 1 is good, but where this one really shines is the third part, which probably that should have been the only part, if you ask me. It reminds me of Goodbye Blue Sky from the Wall. Like, just the kind of chill vibe that it gives off. And I think I like it for that. It's definitely leaps in the third part, at least, is leaps and bounds better than anything else on this studio disc.
Oh yeah, it's like you have like quality, like potential great Pink Floyd on this track, and then you have weird Pink Floyd and everything else.
Yes. So this one is another mixed bag for me. There's good stuff here. There's also some kind of subpar stuff. I wouldn't go so far as to say this is a favorite, but I guess I admire the ideas rather than the execution, if that makes any sense at all. But to close things out, this is another multi-track one, and this is coming to us from Nick Mason. This is The Grand Vizier's Garden Party, 3 parts. Nick?
Nick Mason, Nick Mason, Nick Mason, Nick Mason. What do I have to say about you? I First off, part 1 and part 3 isn't even him. It's his wife. So the other guys, even though I mean, I hate to give Waters credit for this, and I really hate that. At least on several species, it's him doing it. The parts 1 and 3, it's not even him. It's his wife doing it. So I'm like, this is really beautiful and pretty, but this isn't even Nick Mason. So I don't know whether I should like it or not. I mean, I like how short it is. It's not offensive to my ears, and it's very short. Part 2. Oh, part 2. Imagine Moby Dick by Led Zeppelin and put that on hard acid. That's what this is. It's so weird. And not even in a good way. It's just 7 minutes of experimental drums. Like, you have like this, I don't know, just like this like whistle thing at the beginning. And you just have like the drums going all sorts of places on the speakers. Like, I'm like, normally I like when it happens, like left, right, and all that, like being experimental. This, I'm like, stop it. This is noise. And imagine, like, if you're a fan of Led Zeppelin and you know Moby Dick, imagine that, but on drugs, hard drugs. Like, ugh, I don't like part 2 at all. And parts 1 through 3 isn't even Nick Mason. It's just his wife doing the flute. So it's just noise at the end. I don't know. I'm not a fan. I mean, of course, there's the drums at the end of part 1, but I don't know. This is such a mess of an album. I don't know. This is such a crazy album.
Scott, what about you?
The noise is back. Listening to this makes me feel like the Grinch, when he says, "Oh, the noise, 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 noise." That's what I feel like when listening to this. Like, the flute is nice, but everything else is just like, can we make this album end already? Like, I've had enough of this. Like, the Narrow Way, the singing part was good, but everything else on the studio disc, like, I would never want to listen to this again. And listen to this studio disc for this review. I was like, why did I subject myself to this? I actually skipped through most of it because I'm like, I heard this once a year ago. I'm like, I don't want to hear this again.
Yeah, I'm of two minds of this one because on the one hand, it, like to Nick's point, and I literally looked this up in my research. Yeah, there's parts where Nick Mason isn't even there, so it's like it's tough to credit him with it. But at the same time, I mean, he's also in the band. It's way more interesting doing the who gets what and where than actually listening to these 3 parts, if that makes any sense. Like, good ideas here, but it's also just noise. Weirdly enough, I feel like for some people this is what they think prog rock might be, and I know it's not, and we all know that it's not, but I feel like if you turn this on and be like, oh, this is what it is. No, it's not. But it is feels like for some it's just like it's just noise for an hour. We all know it's not, but I mean, come on. But with that out of the way, that is the album. Nick, do you have a score?
Before I give my score, I will give my top 5. Number 5, The Narrow Way Part 3. Number 4, Careful with That Oxygen. Number 3, Set the Controls for the Heart of the Sun. Number 2, Astronomy Domine. And number 1, Saucer Full of Secrets. And I said this offline, I'm going to say this again. I'm going to give 3 scores. First score for the live album. That's a 10 out of 10. That is a perfect live album for me. Studio album, I'm going to give it a 1 out of 10. Yes, a 1 out of 10. The dip in quality is like just.
It's less a dip and more a fall from the Empire State Building.
Yes, exactly. And
Like,
Overall score, though, like the live disc is carrying the hell out of this album, and it's a big reason why. Well, first off, I own it because I wanted to own all the Pink Floyd albums, and two, the live disc just carries the album. I want to give it a 4 out of 10 so bad, but the live disc pushes it up to a 5 out of 10.
Okay, Scott.
My top five, number five is Sisyphus Part 1 only. Number 4 is The Narrow Way Part 3. Number 3, Careful with That Axe, Eugene. Number 2, Set the Controls for the Heart of the Sun. And number 1, Astronomy Domine. And I'm just going to go right out and say this is a 4 out of 10 for me. And that's only because of the live album. If I was ranking just the studio album, it would get a 2 out of 10. Just the live, I'd probably give it like an 8 out of 10. And then 2 out of 10 for the studio. So I don't know if that's the exact average, but I'm going to say 4 out of 10. I wanted to give it a 6, but I'm like, no, it's not a 6. And I can't give it a 5 because I kind of say 5 for if something was so unmemorable that I can't remember anything on the album. Because it's just that average. So I'm going to go with a 4, which is bad.
I'll change it to 4 as well. The way you described, yeah, I'll change it to a 4.
So kind of how I do is 5 is average, meaning it didn't really sway me one way or the other. It was just boring. 4 is bad. 6 is good. And then it kind of goes up from there. Like 3 is even worse. 2 is even worse. And 1 is just like awful. And then 7, you go from good to great, even better. And then 10, like perfect.
Okay.
Well, my number five is going to be Careful with That Axe. Number 4 is going to be Saucer Full. Scratch that. 4 is Sisyphus Part 1. Number 3 is Set the Controls. Number 2, Saucer Full. And number 1, Astronomy Domine. For my score, there are exactly 4 live songs on the album, so I'm going to give it a 4 out of 10 based on those 4 songs alone. And the rest of this album, forget about it. Like if this were like released separately, I mean, they would literally, like the next album we're going to be covering, Atom Heart Mother, is literally 5 tracks. They could have gotten away with a 4-track album, in my opinion.
Yeah, release that as Pink Floyd Live. It would have sold a lot better.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
our scores divided by 3 gives this album a general score of 4 out of 10. rough.
How do you calculate that?
But if you're watching the replay of this, what did you all think? What did you think of the album? Let us know in the comments. Love to read what you have to say. Thank you, Nick and Scott, for doing this one with me. It was a long time off for this one, but I'm bringing it back. And
it's because this album was a hurdle. Once we get over this, everything after this is like really good. But I was dreading this album.
Should be pretty smooth sailing from here. But Nick, do you have anything coming up?
Not at the moment. I'll definitely keep in. I'll try to. I want to start doing more videos, but right now there's nothing planned so far. But yeah, that's about it.
Okay, Scott, do you have anything?
I need to edit my Billy Joel video, so that'll be out sometime. 52nd Street. That's kind of what I have coming up.
And I got tons of stuff coming up, like 1996 stuff, like tons of stuff. So be on the lookout for all of that. But thank you all so much for watching. For Nick, for Scott, my name is Ryan Cam. We will see you all in the next one. You all have a very good night.